Hi everyone, I'm Chris Hernandez, Director of City Communications, and this is the Weekly Report. I have a mask just like this one. I hope you have one too. It's important as we all start going back out again. The mayor has just announced the 10-10-10 rule as a way to reopen Kansas City and keep it safe for all Kansas City residents. The soft opening starts May 6th and allows some businesses to open. This date is more for office work and other businesses that do not get much foot traffic from the general public. But they still need to limit the number of people inside and maintain social distancing. That's why we are encouraging people to continue telecommuting if they can. And remember, stay safe, KC. Then on May 15th, gyms, museums, bars, and in-person restaurant dining will be able to reopen. The mayor's office and our health department will soon issue additional guidance to best protect workers and patrons.
The first thing that I want to emphasize is that here in Kansas City, Missouri, we will always base our decisions on public health advice, public health recommendations, and frankly, doing the research that's necessary before we choose to act. So let's talk about what we are announcing today. In front of me, you'll see a description of our 10-10-10 program. What that means is that effective May 15th, businesses, all businesses, will be able to reopen, including those non-essential businesses that have not been open previously, subject to a capacity rule of 10%, or for their smaller establishments, 10 persons in the establishment itself. And then the final 10 is to the extent that you have someone, a customer who is seated for more than 10 minutes, businesses need to keep track of those people who come in. Another step of our strategies will be to give specific rules in a number of different industries. Restaurants, bars, gyms, museums, any types of entities where there are lots of folks that may come in, lots of folks that come out, and where we think it's important to have extra guidelines. We're going to work over the next 2 weeks to make sure that we have clear and specific guidance for them.
So just like with our non-smoking laws, the vast majority of enforcement is done through peers and people understanding that this is needed. So all of our polling that's been done across the nation is that 70, sometimes as much as 80% of the public supports all these types of rules. And in fact, of those that don't just support it, there's almost 50-50 of that that's left that want it even stronger than what we're doing. So we think that a lot of this will be peer pressure. We will have folks that have their eyes and ears out there that will raise complaints, and then we'll go out and work with folks. Sometimes non-compliance is simply you need to motivate and educate people to do the right thing.
For additional information on the 10-10-10 rule and to read the list of frequently asked questions, go to kcmo.gov/coronavirus. This week, KC Hearts is asking you to share your musical talents. We started KC Hearts by grilling out together. Then we showed our hearts to each other by having surprise gifts for your neighbors. Now it's time to break out your guitar or any instrument, or just your singing voice, or just clap along to show your community spirit. Musicians are encouraged to perform mini concerts starting at 6:30. They can sign up and share their concert location, and those will be promoted through KC Hearts. Then this Friday at 7 p.m. Let's get together, all go outside and sing the song Lean On Me. That's this Friday at 7 p.m. Kansas City will let their hearts beat together, and everyone is encouraged to check out the performances happening in their neighborhoods. Do it from a safe social distance. More details on the performances are available at kchearts.com. During the coronavirus outbreak, about 800 city staff members have been telecommuting through a virtual city hall. This includes members of the City Planning and Development Department, but they've been hard at work at another big project. It's a citywide comprehensive plan. It's a big plan. We're about to redo the entire thing, and we want your public input. To get things started, check out this video.
Hi, we're the City Planning and Development Department. We're starting to update the city's comprehensive plan
that helps guide the future of Kansas City.
Part of that update process is spending a lot of time getting your feedback.
A lot of time.
We want to hear from you on how to make Kansas City the best it can be.
Unfortunately, we can't meet with you in person quite yet.
So take an online poll.
Fill out an online survey.
Meet with us virtually.
If you want updates on the comprehensive plan process,
visit our website and sign up for notifications.
Keep making the best of a challenging time.
And take a few minutes to help us plan your future in Kansas City.
You may have heard that the city has a hiring freeze, but we are still filling some critical positions, including some in the health department. We also have positions open in the water services area and in aviation. So please check out the job listings for us. We also have summer positions in the parks department for lifeguards. Those openings are posted each Monday and you can apply online. Just go to kcmo.gov/jobs and check them out. Thanks for watching the Weekly Report. I'm Chris Hernandez. Stay safe, KC, and check out these videos as well.
What's up, Kansas City? KC Parks wants you to make a difference while we distance. It is the 50th anniversary for Earth Day, and there is no better time than now to help clean up Kansas City. KC Parks is asking everyone who visits a park or trail to bring a trash bag and gloves and simply pick up trash when you see it. KC Parks also has gloves and trash bags available if you need them. Simply email parks.volunteer@kcmo.org. And remember, KC, make a difference while you distance.
Next.
Hi.
How can I help you today?
I was wondering if I could talk to someone about my water bill.
Sure.
I try to manage my water the best I can, but my bill seems to be much higher than it was last year.
I'd be happy to walk you through it. Let's start at the top, shall we? Your bill is in 3 main parts. First, the water you get when you turn on your faucet. That comes from
the Missouri River. We can pull as much as 240 million gallons a day. We then send it through 5 separate processes to create safe, great tasting tap water. And to verify that, the water is put through a rigorous testing cycle that ensures
it meets or exceeds EPA standards. We make sure that the water you drink is as safe as possible. But it's more than just clean water. It's delivered.
There are over 2,800 miles of pipeline, which on average are 44 years old. For years, they've been neglected. Back in 2012, we had over 1,800 water main breaks, sometimes as many as 10 per day. But now,
we have a proactive plan in place. We are strategically replacing 28 miles of pipe a year, and it's working. In the first 4 years of the plan, we've seen a 56% decrease in breaks. Now, obviously, after you use it, it becomes
wastewater. This is where we make sure all waste gets carefully processed. Wastewater gets cleaned and then returned back to the Missouri River. Some of the residual gets burnt into ash, some of it is used as fertilizer. All that stuff you flush down the toilet or send down the drain ends up at one of the 6 treatment plants. This goes hand in hand with
the federally mandated overflow control program. I know, that's a mouthful, but we got to do it. And to be honest, it's creating a cleaner, healthier environment. We're improving the quality of the water in our lakes and streams. There's a lot of stuff that washes into them through
these sewer drains. Now, clogged inlet can come from anything, tree limbs or trash. The last thing you want to do is wake up to a flooded street. It's our job to make sure that these inlets stay clear.
And our streets are clean. After all, this is our city too. We take pride in the place we live and the water we drink. Because no matter where you live at in the city,
we all pay the same rates. Does that help give you a clearer picture?
Yeah, actually, it does. But what if I have a hard time paying my bill?
There is a needs-based customer assistance program. Would you be interested in learning more?
Yes, I would.
Excellent.
When the city shuts down, trees still grow, grass needs mowing, and weeds still need to go. So while you're safe at home, essential staff are working hard. Crews you may have never noticed, the men and women of KC Parks, working to maintain this city within a park, keeping your parks, trails, and open spaces safe, improving your boulevards and parkways, community centers serving families, and maintaining your fountains. Thank you, KC Parks, and to every person working during this difficult time.
Hi Kansas City, I'm Mike Severo, and for May this is your KC in 60. Although you may be at home, there are still plenty of ways you can have fun and stay active inside and outdoors. KC Hearts encourages residents to participate weekly in a positive citywide activity to help stay socially connected while we stay physically apart. Check out this week's event at kchearts.com or on their Facebook page. There's still lots of ways you can still stay active with plenty of online home workout classes you can take part in. Check out the YMCA's 360 classes, as well as KCMO Parks online courses, to name a few. And if that's not quite your speed, Kansas City has no shortage of fantastic parks and walking trails. Visit kcparks.org for locations. And finally, we here at KC in 60 reached out to some of our well-known friends who have a special message for you, Kansas City.
Stay strong, Casey.
Hey, Kansas City, stay strong. We're all in this together, and we're going to make it.
We are in this together, Kansas City.
We will get through this together. Stay safe, Kansas City.
Stay strong, KC. We're in this together.
What's up, KC? This is Kemet. I miss you guys, but we're going to get through this together.
Well, that's it for KC in 60, and be sure to go to kcmo.gov for all of your city information, and we'll see you next month.
Everybody, Ashley here from the Kansas City Zoo, and today we're coming at you from the Snake House. Now I know when I start to talk about snakes, a lot of you might have some varied reactions, those that do like snakes, those that don't, but we always like to say that every animal has a role or a job in the environment, and today we're featuring snakes, but also something a little different as well. So we have another one of our animal ambassadors. Say hello to John. That's the human.
Hi.
And then today with us, we also have Gigi.
Yeah.
Now, John, in our Animal Ambassador collection, I know we have a lot of different snakes, but today we have Gigi. Can you tell us a little bit about who Gigi is and how maybe she relates to the snakes that are around us?
Absolutely. So Gigi here is what's called a green iguana. And so they come from South America. A lot of our Animal Ambassador collection for our snakes, they come from the rainforest or tropical kind of areas, so she kind of fits in with that there. You can see she's kind of using my hands almost like a perch. She likes to be up in the trees a lot. You can kind of see she's got some very sharp fingernails right now. That's what she uses to grab onto those tree branches so she doesn't fall or slip. She sleeps up in those trees, all kinds of stuff. I know my arms aren't about as strong as the trees. I don't think yours are either. That's why you might notice I have on these gloves and these kind of arm coverings right now. It's kind of mimicking that tree bark, so that gives her a better perch, a better grasp, so she feels nice and safe on my arms. And she's a reptile, just like the rest of the animals in our snake house. So they all have those scales. They're cold-blooded, so they like it where it's a little bit toastier. All kinds of stuff like that.
Very cool. So she fits in because she is a reptile.
Absolutely.
All right, so you mentioned that she likes to be up in the trees. She's got a lot of those adaptations, like nails, that help her do that. What about those bright colors that I'm seeing?
So trees, obviously, most of the time very, very green. So she blends in. She has excellent camouflage in those colors. The boys tend to be a little bit oranger, so they have a little bit different coloration, but we're pretty sure she's a female. She has a nice green color throughout. She's big on hiding. She doesn't really like to be around other iguanas. You might also notice she's got this kind of weird flap of skin under her chin right down here. She uses that actually to communicate to those other iguanas from long distances. She'll shake her head around, she'll bob it up and down, and she can use that to say all kinds of different things without ever making a sound.
Okay. So if there is a predator nearby, is she going to do something to help her escape?
Yeah, she can do a couple different things. So number one, if she's hanging out on a tree, she does have this big long tail back here. She might try to swing her tail around and maybe give him a smack. If that doesn't work, she does, like I said, live in the rainforest. She loves to hang up in those trees. She tends to hang out near water though, because what she will do is she will dive off that tree branch down into that lake or stream or river or whatever. And then that tail becomes her mode of escape. She can tuck her arms and legs back and she just swishes that tail around and she swims like there's no tomorrow. She's an excellent diver and an excellent swimmer.
Okay, interesting. So then what about all of those spikes she has running down her back?
Those spikes, that's more of a sign of maturity. So when she's really little, those spikes are pretty tiny. As she gets older, those spikes tend to get longer. It's one of those things, kind of, if you think about a bearded dragon, it makes her look big and tough. So things maybe think twice about going after her to begin with. But for the most part, they're there just for show.
Okay, all right. Another thing, I've seen her licking her lips a couple times
Yes.
now. What does she like to eat?
She has teeth, so you would think she's a meat eater. Just by looking at her, she looks big, she looks tough. She actually likes to eat plants. So she likes to eat lettuce, she likes to eat flowers. At the zoo, some of her favorite treats are dandelion heads. Pretty messy stuff like tomatoes. Grapes are a big one for her as well.
Okay.
So she is an herbivore.
So you mentioned a little bit about her habitat. Where is she found natively in the wild?
In the wild, she is a South American friend. So she'll be down in the rainforest in the Amazon, generally high up in those trees. The higher up she is, the farther away she can kind of communicate with that little dewlap that she has underneath of her there.
Okay, so that's native. Can green iguanas be found anywhere else?
I don't believe so. We do have her here at the Animal Ambassador at the zoo, but I think for the most part they're mostly tropical.
All right, very cool. Well, thank you, Gigi. Another one of our great animal ambassadors. Well, since we are in the snake house today, we will go around and do a few highlights for you as well. So over here, we have Steve. Steve is a California king snake. So we have snakes from all around the world representing their different habitats. And Steve here is actually a snake that is native to North America. Now, one really cool fact about king snakes is that they can kill and eat other venomous snakes. Their venom does not affect them. So speaking of venom, one question I get often is a snake poisonous? Well, we don't usually like to use the word poison to describe their ability. It usually refers to venom. Poison has to be eaten to make you sick, and venom is injected into you. And luckily for Steve here, venom doesn't affect him. All right, we'll move on here to, I would say, a fan favorite. This is Louise, our Burmese Python. She is up to 14 feet long. Now, one thing that is striking about Louise is that she does not exhibit the typical coloration of a Burmese Python. She is leucistic. Now, a lot of people think that she is albino, but there is a couple differences between albino and being leucistic. For albino, it's an animal that has a complete loss of melanin, which provides color to hair, skin, or even feathers. For leucistic, we just see a lack of pigment. So we still see some colorization on her, and the best way to tell the difference is actually to look at their eyes. For animals that are albino, their eyes are typically pink or red because that is the blood vessels showing through. And for animals that are leucistic, that condition typically doesn't affect their eyes. So we do still see complete pigmentation in her eyes. Very active today, Louise is. All right, John, do you have a couple fan favorites over there?
So a couple over here. For coming over this direction, it's a little bit hard to see, but there's one hanging out right under this kind of log right here. It's very well known. People lots of times think it's a coral snake, which is very, very venomous. But at the zoo, it's what's called a Honduran milk snake. They're very well known because they have what we call mimicry. So they can actually they copy that patterning that a coral snake has, sorry. So a coral snake is gonna have red touching the yellow. That's what means it's venomous. But a milk snake has red touching black. You can kind of see those patterns a little bit. So it's very, very similar, but because it mimics a very dangerous animal, generally people and other animals tend to leave it alone. And they're really cool because they'll also eat other snakes, just like Steve would, our king snake. They also eat eggs, all kinds of stuff like that. And then probably one of my absolute favorites that we have here in our snake house here is this friend, the Woma Python. So they hang out in Australia. They're native to Australia, those kind of grassland areas, a little bit more in the woods as well. They're known for eating little bitty reptiles, small mammals, things like that. But my favorite thing about them is they are a constrictor. So they wrap around their food to squeeze it to death, kind of, before they eat it. But if we pan down just a little bit, what these guys do is they will actually kind of invade those burrows. So if you think a mouse lives underground, things like that, the Woma Python will go into those burrows, and instead of wrapping around their food, they tend to pin their food to the walls to constrict it before they eat it. So then they get a meal, and they get a nice new home for a little while. But one thing to remember right now, all these snakes, as they're starting to see warmer temperatures, our snake friends here in Missouri are starting to come out a little bit more. So we just need to be a little bit more aware as they are kind of waking up from their little, not hibernation, their slumber for the winter. But yeah, just kind of keeping your eye out for them, making sure we watch them. They know in the sunshine, they like to hang out more on the sidewalks, hang out on the road a little bit more. So just being careful, watching out for our slithery friends.
All right, well, thank you for joining us here at the Kansas City Zoo for our highlight from the Snake House. We'll see you next time. Bye.